I better put the audio on. Hi, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about something I've been thinking about the last couple of days, which is what a midlife crisis used to be and how I'm observing a warped version of it now with the younger guys, younger people, maybe even younger women. I don't know. We used to think a midlife crisis was sad or silly or funny, and it can be, but usually it's somebody wanting to do the things they've always wanted to do. They found out who they are, and now they're going to start living however late it is, but it's through experience and self-reflection, right? So we used to think a midlife crisis was sad, but it was actually a sign of someone finally waking up after years of living for their parents, society, money, or the approval of everyone else. But what worries me now is the new midlife crisis, and it's happening to teens and 20s. And I'm seeing a lot of young people opting out of life, calling it intelligence, minimalism, or early retirement. They're jumping ahead to, I'm just going to get to wisdom like my grandfather. I'm just going to act like him, not care about anything. And they're doing this before they've even tried being regular, before they've tried failing, before they've tried going for things they wanted. Because that's what life is, like waking up for something and going towards things, working or finding out who they are. And I wanted to know what you guys thought about this. Before we start talking about it more, feel free, if you're here live, if you're one of these people here live during the stream, and you would like to ask a question amongst chatting to yourselves, ask me a question by adding a couple of smiley faces before your comment or question if you want to throw your 2 cents in on this topic about this weird kind of warped midlife crisis that's happening to young people, where they're almost retiring as a teenager because it's not worth it, it's too scary, the world's against them, and the world is a lot more chaotic, disorganized, and it feels like there's no point to anything because everything's a scam. But someone said in the comments here, no sound. Okay. Now it's okay. It's all good. Yeah. Talking about this, the new midlife crisis happening for teenagers and 20-somethings, I think it's really weird. I started thinking about this, that the reason was I've been thinking how my view of midlife crisis has changed, notably because as you get older, you realize it's not what you thought it was in your young hubris. You look at older people and you go, what do you know, granddad? What do you know, mum, dad? And then as you get older, you go, they were right. They were right. You find out your own truth, but you find out generally you change. You don't know everything as a teenager. You don't know everything as a 20-year-old. You start knowing less and less, and you start getting humbled by what the echoes of what everyone said to you growing up, but you didn't want to hear. But now it's kind of like this weird thing where young people are hyper certain about just unplugging, right? Now, the Matrix wasn't about unplugging and then just sitting lifeless like a robot in the corner, trying to, just doing nothing. Unplugging from the Matrix was that so you could start jumping across buildings and dodging bullets, right? But people are unplugging and like an appliance, they're just kind of like going lifeless. And it's really weird. Like they think, this is the answer. They high five each other. We're all we're as though all of the young people are now a really intelligent bunch of unplugged toasters that unplug themselves from the wall. And now they're all saying, look at us. We're not going to be used. We can just remain immortal as these objects. And we're going to be pristine, somehow live forever or not be used, but you get older, you notice that you've just wasted decades of your life trying to remain new and perfect, trying to recycle life by doing nothing. But again, guys, if you have something to say about this, and only if you have something to offer, not just because you want to talk, because there are some people in the comments, they think that I'll put emojis because I'm excited to say everything I want to say. No, just if you have a question or you have something poignant to say. Alternatively, if you'd like to super chat, I'll read that definitely. But I thought this was interesting because usually the midlife crisis, as it's colloquially called, or I'd like to refer to it as more of like an awakening, because you're naive when you're young. Some people have a bit of ego and they go towards things, and it works out very rarely. You know, the kind of young person that knows exactly what they want, and they just keep heading in that direction, and it gets better and better and better, and they don't make any mistakes. That's almost like winning the lottery 3 times in a row. It rarely happens. That it's not even worth considering that person. But most people, if you're confident and you have this sense of confidence about yourself and you know what you want to do, you're not being pushed, bullied, or suggested to by your parents or friends or anything. That's very rare, to have the courage to do something on your own. Most of the time we don't know. We go for the safe thing. We do what our friends do. We do what mummy and daddy tell us to do because they're older, they have experience, they've got a roof over our head, and they're paying for bills and food and things like that. And so we think, well, I can't pretend to know. These people look confident, they're bigger, they're surviving, there's food on the table. Where does that come from? Magic. Where does the car come from that gets us around everywhere and pays for fuel, and Netflix is on? It just happens. It's magic, and these people make it happen. I'll just listen to them, right? And so you do everything they say. And then after a while, you find out, I don't like that job. There's a lot of people in their midlife that, their parents push them, especially Asians or Indians, where their parents push them to be something of high status and make a lot of money because they're looking out for their kids. They don't want them to starve, and they push them to be lawyers and doctors and things like that. And then at midlife, they say no. They're really frustrated. There's something in them that says, I just want to make furniture, or I want to paint or something. I want to woodwork. And so that's what happens in midlife. You trust what the world wants of you. You trust that people in your life are giving you good advice. Sometimes they push you in directions, but it's well-meaning. But then you discover, no, this doesn't fit. This doesn't fit. For a lot of people, they don't. They get to the end of their lives regretting that they didn't do more of what they wanted, or they didn't listen to that little voice, because at the end of your life, you've got no fear of the expectations of others. And that's what happens in midlife usually, in around 40 plus or minus. So late 30s, early 40s, you have this midlife awakening where you don't have the fear of what people want to do, because hang on, I'm past the midway point. And am I just going to live everyone else's script? They're not paying the bills. They're not going to be homeless if it doesn't work out. They're not going to suffer this person they want me to marry. I'm going to have to, I'm going to make these decisions. And so it seems like the young people of today are saying, and it seems like when they look at old people, the old people are retiring with confidence. They're not playing the game. They're playing their game. And so young people are saying, well, I know what game I want to play now. I just want to do nothing, like in my parents' bedroom, and I just want to play video games. I'm just going to do that as my own, as an adult, whether I'm moving out of home in my early 20s, or I just moved out and I'm living on my own, or sharing or renting. And I'm just going to stay like this. Everything else costs too much stress, too risky, and is going to wipe my life away. Guys are really scared of being homeless and living under a bridge. Women less so, because they can always just attach themselves to a man and say sorry and bat their eyelids. I know I'm exaggerating. I'm making it very simplistic, but you know what I mean. So guys have a real fear of ending up homeless. So if you're better than homeless, it's like, I don't want to go below this. So I want to keep this. I don't want to risk this going any lower. And so they do nothing. And so they almost skip to what their grandfathers are doing, even if he's a wise old man. I am just going to jump ahead and skip all this mess. And Grandpa would also tell me to skip all this mess, and I'm just going to join him now as a late teen or early 20s. I'm smart. Grandpa would also go, well, yeah, good for you that you realize the game, but I don't think grandpa would also tell you to stop living, to become agoraphobic and not even go out into the world and try the things that might be uncomfortable or you might skin your knee, but that are very, very recoverable. Like, for instance, if you really love skateboarding, are you really going to avoid skinning your knee? Or if you like exercise or fitness, going to the gym, or there's a little bit of pain involved, but it's a little bit of pain for a big, big reward. So you'd rather neutralize all of that and have kind of vanilla or a blank white wall for the rest of your life as an artist. You're just going to look at the blank white page and you think at least that's something. It's better than going backwards. Well, I would argue that real base level state isn't really living. If you're going to rush forward to your grandpa's age, you might as well rush a little bit ahead to a bit later, if you know what I mean, if you're going to do that with life. But anyway, let me see if there's any comments. Prince Revolver, how are you, dude? He says, if we all took the road less easier in life, in our early 20s, the rest of our life would pan out better. Less easy. If we all took the road less easier, so harder, if we all took the harder road in our 20s, the rest of our life would pan out better. Yes. Sorry, the double negative kind of got me a bit. Yeah. What's the saying? Hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life. By that Russian Olympian. I can't remember his name. I don't think he coined the phrase. I think it was someone before him and smarter than him. Let me refresh the live chat so I see every comment. Hey, Barbarian. Hi to the regulars. Almond Ghost. Big ol'. Hey, Peg. Yeah, true. It's kind of like seeing someone throw away a lottery ticket. That's seen in Good Will Hunting, where they just say, no, I can't be bothered. I don't want to go through it all. Yeah, I could have a lot of fun, but what's the point? I'm going to come back. It's like not wanting to go on a holiday because you're going to come back from it anyway. And what's the point? And it's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. And it may not all be fun. It's going to cost money. It's almost like you look for any excuse not to get off your butt, because to go on any adventure, even if it's going to be a lot of fun, you have to pack your suitcase. You got to prepare, you got to make the effort to even go, the bare minimum. And I think the world also online catastrophizes everything. You watch the news, everything is pushed to the extreme. We're kept in a constant state of fear, and almost every choice you would make, every direction you would pick, there's always a news story. There's a podcast saying the 3 things you need to worry about. Don't do this until you watch this video. There's always scare and fear mongering attached to these things. So the world and the internet does its best to make a fragile, shaky young person even more shaky and fragile, to the point that they're a shivering animal in the corner. And they don't want to go out into the world. Okay, let's see here. You Ugly says, we walk from one umbrella to umbrella in the rain, only to remain wet and cold. Let me try and see what you mean by that. Because sometimes I interpret what you say too quickly, and then I go off on this tangent, and then people say, no, that's not what I meant. And they reread your sentence, and it's like, oh yeah, I misinterpreted what you were saying. We walk from one umbrella to the umbrella in the rain, only to remain wet and cold. Yeah, but to get to the other umbrella that's better, you have to walk through the rain, maybe for a short amount of time, if that's what you're saying. Or are you saying it's better not to? I hope not. Big Ol says, young men are more disenfranchised than any other demographic in the world. A typical 20-year-old guy has no girlfriend, no friends, no job, no future house, atomized, etc. Video games look great. Yes, but it's stupid not to go for those things. If a typical 20-year-old guy has no girlfriend, try and get a girlfriend. No job, no friends, try and get a friend. No job, try and get a job. No future house, try and atomize. Stop watching dumb manosphere content. Watch better content. Be more optimistic and not so comfortably and conveniently pessimistic about everything. Well, this can go wrong. Well, let's go on a date. Let's go on a second date because this girl is really, really interesting and I really like her and I've learned a lot and I'm more self-aware. I've got my eyes open. Yeah, but 50% of relationships end and blah, blah. It's just like, okay, like you can justify being inert as much as you want. This kind of demoralization by the statistics and buying into the fear-mongering online is just stupid in my case. And this kind of stuff, I know from time to time it gets you down, Big Ol, but focusing on this kind of stuff is retarded to me. Because it's like, well, it's hard because most guys are this and yeah, then try. Why were you born? Like it was hard in different ways for our parents. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have the opportunities. This time is a mental and cognitive tough time, but physically the world is a lot easier. But people have bought into and absorbed the fear mongering. If you don't have this stuff, if this stuff is hard, what other choice do you have but to try? This kind of giving up is stupid. I'm not saying you are, but this kind of pointing out, well, this is happening. Most men, yet most men are sliding backwards and most men are retiring in the worst deformed kind of way. They're trying to interpret, well, I want to be smart like grandfather. I admire him. I'm going to pantomime and act like him. It's no different to putting on a cape and pretending to be Superman as a child. You're pantomiming somebody. You're not getting there in the way that grandfather and everyone before grandfather got there. You're cheating. You're cheating life and pretending to be 10 steps ahead when you haven't taken the first 10 steps. So all of these statistics, I don't know about you, this kind of like, these are the stats, this is what's happening to men, it's really hard, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to accept the consensus of what the world's telling you, even if the stats are kind of accurate. That's accurate for the average sheep out there who doesn't think. You think a little bit, Big Ol. So stop saying these things are determined. And if you do, if guys keep saying, well, this is happening, this is happening, this is video games look great, they do. But you're taking the easy route. You're taking the thing that only feels good. Anything worthwhile takes effort. Anything worthwhile that you value takes maintenance. Everything takes effort. You can't get a great body without going to the gym and eating well. You can't write the book without sitting down and having a schedule and habit and putting work into it. It's not like, well, I'm not even going to bother writing the book that I'm passionate about writing and that's the only thing that motivates me in life. You know what? I'm going to give up because only 5% of authors actually make a living from it, or 1%, hardly anyone. So I'll just give up. No. Even if it doesn't work out, you enjoy the process of the will and the drive to do something that makes you wake up with kind of fire in you to do something where it's not just, I didn't succeed. It's that you had time trying to succeed. And that's the experience your grandfather gets. But all of this stuff, like, yeah, video games look great. Let's all just pick the easy shit that everyone does. And then everyone who's doing the easy shit gets online and says how hard life is. The person who's not saying how hard life is the person that doesn't play video games as much as you do, or doesn't take the easy road as much as you do. The guys on the manosphere who say, I'm calling them out, I'm treating them like shit. It's because I used to think a lot like that, and my life has only been better when I put some effort towards the things that I enjoy, the things that make me look forward to tomorrow, writing something, going for a run, doing some personal shit in my life that I enjoy doing. And no one's going to take that away from me. The guys that think that life is just a place that you get put into, right? Life is not yours. You're like a chess piece that gets moved around by people, and you've got no will and you've got no ability to change things or do things. No, life is something I generate. Yes, I know the sky is blue and life is life and one day I will pass away. I know that. But while I'm here, I want to generate as much life as I can. But many people that just subscribe to these, like, well, this is hard for young guys and there are no friends and the world's collapsing and inflation and this, it's like, well, find a way through. But it's hard. I don't care. It's, you know, what's that guy? Not the primatologist, the guy that coined the phrase, the most adaptable are the ones that survive. You know the guy I'm talking about. You either adapt, survive, or you perish. That's it. All you're whining in the corner, you just we'll just end up being like feminists or woke people, or just wanting a handout, wanting free money, wanting reparations. Just go out and try and live the life you can. It might be harder in certain ways than your parents had it, but then it's easier in a lot of ways that your parents didn't have it. Your parents didn't have time to write books, to travel, to save money. They didn't have much welfare, depending on what part of the world. Now it's all mental. So, look, if you don't care about enjoying your life, no one else will. Like, sitting in the corner and saying, it's hard, it's hard, it's hard, it's hard, there's my evidence of why I don't do anything. It's like, well, okay, fine. I agree with you if nothing can pull you out of the corner, if you don't have any will. I can't care about your life more than you do. When I see the stats of how hard and how much the world is trying to suppress me, I try and fight to at least get a little bit and breathe at least a little bit and make my own little world good, you know? My foot is itchy. But anyway, that's me. I'm the kind of person that's always been like that. When someone says, no, you can't do that, I'm either too curious or stubborn and go like, no, let me try, or I'll show you, especially if I know there's a way through. Especially being intelligent. You don't just hear someone say anything, you investigate it, you read up on it, you read all sides, you try it out. And then sometimes like, no, you say it's hard or you couldn't, and I just did it first shot. It might have been luck, let me try it again. Or I tried it, it's like, yeah, it's a bit of effort, but man, the reward of that was awesome, I'm going to do it again. It's the effort is just the price you pay for entry into this world that's enjoyable. But a lot of guys and girls out there, they just want everything for free, man. They just want life for free. They want all of their personal things that no one else is going to pay for. They want everyone else to pay for them. Otherwise, if it's like, well, you know, my life is going to, I've got $1,000 in my bank account and life is asking me to pay 20 cents and I will have a demonstrably better life and I'll have a smile on my face almost every day and I'll leave the old life behind, but I won't pay 20 cents. Sorry, too hard. It's like, well, fine. Stay there with your $100 pristine for the rest of your life doing nothing. And then you'll get to be like your grandfather and look back and regret a whole ton of shit. And you'll probably be like a lot of the woke people where you'll blame the world for it. No, it's mostly yourself. Sorry. That's why I get annoyed and cranky and these little snowflakes think I'm backstabbing them. I'm not. I can talk to anyone. I still have fond memories of the manosphere. But I want to talk to people who are realistic and not victim sort of virtue signalers. Because you can't get out of that loop of like stats and this is what's happening in the world. It is. But I'm all about being taking personal accountability and stop looking for a handout and consensus about what you will do. So a midlife crisis is about you clearly snapping into focus and realizing, this is what I want to do. I trusted my parents, society, exes. I know women better now. While I love my parents, I don't care what they want. It doesn't mean I don't love them. I don't care anymore. I'm the only one that's going to live with my decision. I'm the only one that's going to live this life through my eyes, ears, and senses and have a good or bad time. If I continue to just make daddy happy or grandma happy or whatever, then it's almost like you're waiting for them to die, then you can change your job. Like, what if they live to be 100? Are you going to wait till 80 to finally do what you want, because like that's just cowardly. You know, it's pointless. These are the things I realized, that a healthy midlife crisis is having the courage to take the risks that you should and need to get the kind of quality of life that you want, that's realistic, that you'll have a smile on your face and you'll say, I should have done this earlier. That's what a midlife crisis is. Yeah, you've got the cheesy, stupid kind, like the older CEO with, who's dating his secretary and he buys a Porsche convertible or whatever. But I'm talking about the more healthier, generic one that you can't really laugh at, where the person has courage to leave their entire career and live the life they always wanted, and they don't really care what anyone in their life who says they love them thinks. But young people are doing this warped version, where they're retiring in this weird way. They've got this warped view of what retiring is. It only comes after a whole bunch of self-reflection. That's what a real midlife crisis is. Thanks, Prince Revolver, for the super chat. If anyone else wants a guarantee of me reading their question, as long as it's civil and it hasn't got any language that's going to get this channel tanked, you can super chat like Prince Revolver so kindly has here, and I'll read your message out. He says, a major issue with men of any age is putting the world on his shoulders with no self-preservation. Well, it's also taught by parents, society, and again, I don't want to paint men as victims here. It's something we have to really shake off, get angry about, but then come back to the world. And this is the useful thing about the manosphere, is when it teaches you to have some self-respect, and even if you need to get pissed off at being used and expected to do everything, but you don't get anything back, expected to have sympathy, care, protection of everyone else. But the moment you need protection, understanding and care, no one gives a shit. Or also they get disgusted at you, like some girls do. They get disgusted that you're in pain, or you cry, or you lost your job. And then all of a sudden they don't love you anymore. That's when you get pissed off. But then you've got to come back from that and not care. You don't care about those people in the same way they don't care about you. And it's not giving them a fake version of what they're giving you. It's like really understanding that no one should care about you as much as you do. But a lot of men care about everything else, and then they can't even care about themselves. This is the sad thing with a lot of men, that women will never understand. Society never does, and they conveniently never do, because they like using guys. We're the heavy lifters, and we have the sympathy and empathy. Again, I'm not kind of trying to make an excuse for men. But when you realize that everyone just cares about what they want, and men grow up caring firstly about women, society, children, everyone else, what their friends think, mummy and daddy patting them on the back, good job, good job, good job, and then you only feel good about yourself via the validation of others. You never feel good about yourself from in out. You never generate a feeling of confidence and self-assuredness, like where, no, you just know what you want and you'll do what you want and you'll protect what you want and no one else can shame you about it. I know that I've always felt that way about art and drawing. I was always looking for validation for everyone else with every other part of my life. I was never very sure. I was trying to discover stuff. But when I was a young boy and I started to draw, I knew this was for me and it was my thing and I could do it well. And people admired me for it. But it wasn't that. It was just, I knew this was something special. This was something I was connected to. And then no matter when someone said later in my life, if I was with a girl and she said, you're still drawing, that's a bit childish, I would kind of defend it and say, what are you talking about? Like, I know I can do something special that you can't do and most people can't do. Don't put this down. This has nothing to do with you. It was the only time I felt that way. Unfortunately, guys have to do that with all of life when it's got to do with people. They feel worthless until Chicky Poo, mummy, society pats them on the back with a paycheck. A job pats them on the back with a paycheck that's big. And then your parents or a girl or your friends also validate you and say, good job, man. That's great. We like you. We value you. But you never do until all of them do. And that's the midlife crisis, the healthier one that guys come to, where they realize, no, I'm going to pat myself on the back first. And then if other people don't, then I know who my friends are and I know who really loves me, right? That's the liberation. That's the rebirth. That's a midlife crisis, if you will, where you just can't take it anymore, being used and nothing making sense. You make sense of it from your own perspective. Then you start seeing that you generate more of life. But these young guys, that what they do is decide, oh, grandpa looks calm. He's semi-retired. He left the job. He knows, he's very calm about women. He knows how to deal with them. I'm just going to jump ahead and act like grandpa. It's you're putting on a lion suit instead of becoming the lion that grandpa did. And you can run around in a lion suit and pretend to be grandpa, but faking it till you make it. By the time you get to grandpa's age, you'll see that you've just been faking it, with tough quotes from Marcus Aurelius and the Manosphere and statistics about men and women. You'll realize you're just like dropping memes to confirm your biases, and you really didn't believe in it because you're frustrated at life. You still had problems with women all the way till 50. And at some point, you've got to try something else. But this is the thing I've found is really weird today. This midlife crisis at 40 or so, plus or minus, can be silly, can be a bit funny, but it's like, well, at least he got his life together, can look ridiculous, dating the secretary and trying to relive your youth. But when it's happening to teenagers and kids in their 20s, that's sad and worrying to me. And I don't have an answer for it, but it's just something I observed. There's this really weird, cringy, sad crisis happening much, much younger for people, where they have a metaphysical crisis with the world, and it's too much for their brains. There's no guidance. There's nothing that's attractive to them because the world just looks like it doesn't reward anything, any effort, any kind of courage. And the only path is like, I'm just going to not choose anything. And that never happened before. The world had less choices, but none of them were guaranteed, but there wasn't this demoralization of your dreams and what you kind of wanted to do. So that's the weird thing today. Prince Revolver. Men want to be useful, not used. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Men love feeling useful. Men love doing good things for people that they care about, especially, and then seeing that they're appreciated. But when men are used, or anyone for that matter, but especially guys who just get off on the approval of others and the approval of doing a good job, we're doers and workers. And we just don't feel good if we don't get any feedback from doing a good job. Whereas women are generally born having a lot more self-esteem. That's the thing. Guys don't have much self-esteem about themselves. You got to really build it up and get kind of pissed off, not at women, but at the whole system, to the degree that say, well, I'm not playing it anymore. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to be more honest. I'm going to speak my mind. I'm going to speak better. I'm going to be less afraid at the bullshit you're trying to make me afraid of. I'm not going to fight you, because fighting the system, fighting women, getting angry at, they're not going to change. If you don't change, you're just fighting them in their arena. And they're going to win eventually. You'll either waste your life holding up a really nice shield, and at the end of the life, all you did was hold up a shield in this arena of women and society and everyone, or you get out of the arena and you just don't step in the arena anymore. You don't pretend to by quoting Marcus Aurelius lines. You actually decide to have that midlife awakening and do what you want to do. Quit the job that was never for you. Stop dating trashy women that will ruin your life. Stop watching Fresh and Fit and all of this content that is just rage bait. And stop telling yourself it's just entertainment. You are entertaining yourself by chaos and anxiety, and it just kind of that's all your dialogue is. When you get together with friends, that's all you talk about. That's your conversational piece. You have to choose the better, sometimes more boring, less Instagrammable life that helps you sleep better. Do you care about your health more? Or do you care about just being entertained and being with the crabs in the bucket and misery loves company? Is that what draws you? Well, if you're an addict to that stuff, just like someone might be an addict to alcohol, fine. I'm not going to stop you. Go into the bar every night. But it's your life. You need to care about your life more than I can't. I can't care about your life more than you do. Yeah, that's true. Video games look great until you find yourself with no time to play them. How many times does a guy hates his job, just wants to go home and play video games, and he says, "Oh, I wish I had more time to do this. I wish I didn't have a job." And as soon as he loses his job, he just doesn't feel like playing video games. You need to have the base stability of your life secure, but having the kind of life that you want. If you're going to feel anxious, be anxious about a life that you designed in the way that you want, where it's not predicated on the approval of your parents or chicky poo. I'll just keep her happy and then I'll be good. Then I can tinker with my car in the garage, or she won't go off on me for making a YouTube video or writing or drawing or playing my guitar or whatever. My dad went through hell and back and said it best. Never be ashamed of getting old. It's a privilege denied to many. Yep. It's a good way of seeing it. Everyone's just really interested in staying young today. But why? Just so you can kind of recycle the same naive spurg for the rest of your life? You want to delay, what is it? You want to just delay having to become an adult? Or you want to have to delay the fear of having the courage to do what you want to do and sever the umbilical cord to your parents, society, and women? Seek freedom, become a slave to your desire, seek discipline to find your freedom. Yes. I heard a saying recently that said, only a slave justifies their freedom through productivity. And today, there's a lot of people with hustle culture and productivity and just work harder, but just make sure you're working harder to something that makes your life light up. That looks like, if you work harder in that direction, it will look like your life full of color. Not, well, this will get me a hot chick or this will get me this. Get the money, whatever you desire, but make sure getting there, you enjoy it too. So getting there looks like your life too. Don't just suffer. I mean, if you don't have a job, take a job so you can pay your bills. Suffer a little bit to be sensible to survive. But past survival, don't become someone else just because you get the golden handcuffs of money. You will get to midlife and you won't be able to do it anymore. And your friends, or your so-called friends, won't understand it. They'll be saying, you want to just quit and become, I don't know, a YouTuber, for instance. And your friends are like, what's wrong with you? Dude, you need therapy. Maybe we need an intervention for this guy. Or like me, I just quit my job. I had a little bit of savings, so I knew I had like 6 months to a year where I could just coast by, because my life doesn't require a lot of money. I could pay bills and I could live a life fairly comfortably, but no more than probably a year, where I was just going to quit and I didn't know what I was going to do, but I was going to sit with that discomfort and really kind of learn to sit with the anxiety a bit until I found myself still and finding out what I actually wanted to do. And then I decided to apply for jobs and then I got into a job that I liked and enjoyed. And now I have a better life, and certain things in life drop in. But if you're always living someone else's life by the script of society and your parents, however well-meaning it is, especially for them, you will pop eventually if you're having a job or you married a woman that people told you to marry. Especially a lot of guys online today that they're watching these podcasts with bimbos like Fresh and Fit, and that's the only women you see people fighting with and debating with and talking to. They're the only women in your mind. You're not watching well-adjusted women. You're not saying, I enjoy watching this, but I want the opposite of these women. But I never actually watch, see, or talk to these women. So you're never used to them. All you're used to is these kind of women that you have to debate and argue with that can ruin your life. And you will find the opposite of them boring because you don't know how to talk to them. You don't watch videos about them. You don't talk to women like them. They're not your friends. They're not the girls you go on dates with. You are always in the ring with these women. Do you understand how where you spend your time influences who you are? Doesn't matter if it's friends. Doesn't matter if it's your entertainment. If you're always listening to Rammstein, okay, death metal, extreme stuff, horror movies, I can guarantee what you're not. That kind of person that says, I just want peace and quiet, you know, girls with tattoos all over their face that listen to sort of death metal and they're just extreme and stuff. I bet you I can guess what their ex-boyfriends were like, what they're complaining about. And it doesn't matter if this chick says, well, I just want a really nice guy and I want to have kids and I want to be a good mum and I want all this rainbow and sunshines. It's like, yeah, I don't believe you. You're not changing your life at all. You are spending your time in an area and you're making the excuses and saying, oh, but I want this. Yeah, you're the 300-pound man that wants to get fit on Monday. That's always wanting to start their diet next week. That's all you are. What you choose is all that matters. It does. That's why I get annoyed at when I talk to the old version of me of Red Pill guys and Manosphere guys. I'm getting annoyed at the excuses, the victimhood, and then you're just wasting your life. Do what you want, but be sensible about it and take accountability. Even if you follow these stats, but just choose something where you're happy and not always angry. People will probably think I'm angry, but I'm not. I'm just, I can't deal with unrealistic conversations 24/7. Mr. International says, you mean my grandfather, who was an awful misogynist and controlled and abused my grandmother by treating her as a domestic slave, at some point human enough is enough? Yeah, true. Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. If a woman tells me to put down something I enjoy, she's free to leave. Yeah. It's basically telling you, I don't like that you're happy. I'll tell you where you can be happy. Especially if it's got nothing to do with her. Why would I tell, like, if my wife loves reading and I'm going to get jealous of her reading because I'm not involved, that's just stupid. It's just a lot of young men who know there are no reward at the end of it all. There is no reward at the end when you really look at it. Anyway, he continues, I think young men are going to work regardless, but not for the typical family life. Yeah, that might be true, but even if you just go to work to get some joy out of your life, not to give up. So if you know that the things you enjoy doing, you don't just play video games because you can't be bothered on actually going on an adventure and traveling or doing something that requires a bit of courage that the game kind of is giving you in a kind of fake simulacra. If you need a little bit of money to do it, but actually go on the adventure for real or take the risk for real. Yeah, they do, but whatever is free for everyone is kind of fairly boring. Everyone's doing it. I just kind of see people who want everything for free thinking they're smarter than people that pay for something for quality or maintain or know that they need to, there's a cost to things that are good or that you want. I think it's kind of stupid to think that everything should just be free and easy. I know our brains want to. Our brains want to stay where they are. You know, don't try anything new. We were lazy yesterday and we survived. Let's just stay here. Let's not poke our heads out of the cave. I get it, but you have to override that, especially as a guy, for your own sake. Not for women in society, for your own sake. Again, go your own way, not their own way. Big ol'. But in marriage, she cannot leave without you being oh, come on, big old dude. You just keep on doing this. That's bullshit. I would say, big ol' stop. Like, just don't date, and you'll be calmer. You are just so you just put up these things like she cannot leave without you being destroyed. So that's stupid. Boffin says, Barbarian, I don't know, buddy. I think it's a good idea to always work hard and build a better life for yourself. If a girl or woman happens to come into the picture, all the better. Yeah. What about Kant's categorical imperative that we should act how we want everyone else to act? Wasn't it a bit more nuanced than that, the categorical imperative? It's not that act like you want. The normal one is act in a way that you want people to act to you. Yeah, the categorical imperative is act as though we it's a law of nature that we're civilized. That's kind of a fact, and then we should act in accordance as though it's real, not hope that we all act well. I think it's a good way. Whatever way you can believe healthier is usually the right thing, because sometimes a certain way. Kant's categorical imperative is a reformation or a perspective that still gets you to the same spot. The normal saying is treat people the way you want to be treated. So it's us doing things actively to get the same back. Kant's categorical imperative gets the same result, but rather than us putting in the effort, presupposes that there's a way for everyone to act civilized in a civilized way. And I agree to an extent. We used to act like this before. And then it's up to us to all abide by that principle. And both, I think, are true and I agree with. It depends on whether you're a person that wants to be a better person and generate like me, or this would work better for someone like Big Ol, who thinks that they have little power and that the world imposes itself on them. So maybe read Kant's categorical imperative, Big Ol. That would probably work for you and get you to the same place, the same answers that all of us are trying to get to. So if you can't generate and fight through and be stubborn and get what you want, then Kant's categorical imperative probably would work for you better, because it takes more of the onus off you and suggests that there's a civilized way that all humans need to act because it's real, for instance. Just the guy says, I agree with whoever said that circumstances really dictate how your life can be. People love to downplay that and lay the blame on you for whatever. That's right. Yeah, of course, if you get born in the ghetto, it's different to some YouTuber who was born in the Hollywood Hills, who's born a rich kid, talking about just get off your ass and make things happen. And for them, it was pretty easy. So I understand certain people are born in environments where it makes it a lot harder for them to be more optimistic and make their lives better. But given all of that, all things being equal, when it just comes down to mindset, belief, and will, especially now online, everyone's kind of uniformly getting put down and made to feel fearful globally in the same way. Now, we're much more of on an even playing field when you think about it. There's less excuse now than there used to be generations ago. So I think my argument holds more water today than it did maybe 50 years ago. For women, for anyone, like, you can't complain that much anymore. Hey, across, how you going? Prince Revolver says, there is truly no negative to removing the people in your life who take from you. I look forward to seeing friends because it doesn't come at a negative expense. Yeah, I watched a really interesting clip I was talking to Stephanie about this morning about, I think it was Chase Hughes was mentioning about how to get self-esteem. And it wasn't so much that I was interested in how to get self-esteem, but he looked at it from a perspective that really made a lot of things click into place. He said, no one will really understand you ever. Not perfectly, not as clearly as you should be able to understand yourself. And all of us who want confirmation, we want validation from women and our parents and society and stuff. And we're explaining ourselves, and I want you to understand me, and I'm sorry. No, that's not what I meant. You're always trying to explain yourself, and you're always trying to be seen clearly. No one will see you clearly, ever. Your parents, even though they gave birth to you, they never see you clearly. Just think about how your mum and dad they don't care how you feel most of it. They want you to do, they can't understand what you won't do what they say. They don't see you clearly. They don't know what you want. They don't care for the most part. Your partner, your spouse, no one will see you clearly or understand you perfectly. Yeah, that's why I say you have to talk to clarify as close as possible who you are and what you want out of life so they can see you as clearly as possible. But at the end of the day, they don't, they won't, they can't, they don't care. People care about themselves first, and try as they might, they will never see you as clearly as you see yourself or should see yourself. And if you don't care about seeing yourself and protecting yourself, you're just throwing yourself away. All of your complaints and victimhood about life and all of that and the system, it doesn't matter. You should be seeing yourself clearly and then caring about yourself clearly, because everyone else doesn't. Society and women, they care about themselves first and what they want, and everyone uses everyone else to a certain degree, and they will never see you like you want them to see you. So, given that, pay attention to who your friends are, and that comes with experience too. Do women have more self-esteem? Yeah, they've got more hubris and ego, but they feel better about themselves, like whether it's justified or not. Because I know there was a stat a little while ago that they surveyed a lot of women in America, and self-surveys, most of them said, 90% said they were very, very happy with their bodies and they loved the way they were. And, they just kind of just answered the questions with such a confident tone, but the way they act is very different. So how people tell you about their self-esteem, self-surveys aren't accurate. It's how people act and how much anxiety they exude to other people. But genuine self-esteem, where you esteem yourself first, you think about yourself. You don't just think about yourself last like most men do. The whole problem look, if you want to sum up, it's with guys, it's just having the ability to consider yourself as a real thing in a conversation with a girl, or with what your parents want, or with your job, or with your boss, or anywhere. They're not the only thing that's important. And then if they're all happy, then little Timmy gets a pat on the head. You got to make little Timmy grow up and protect little Timmy and try and turn him into a person that can take care of himself, who's strong, rather than always wanting to be looked after. That's kind of like what chicks do. You're just sitting there looking for a bouquet of flowers to feel good about yourself as a guy. You got to get past that. And the guys that go, oh, you're against us, human hates us. You're just being a chick. Like, you are. Like, you're backstabbing us. You've changed. You're making us feel bad. I don't care. I'm not attacking you. I don't like who I used to be, which was one of you. I just want to be a calmer person that takes more responsibility in my life. People I pick, mistakes I make. Yeah, if I screw up, I'll put up my arm. Yeah, I screwed up. Now what? You should feel bad. I already did. I apologize. Well, yeah, you should feel bad. Like, I already apologize. Like, I'm not going to, like, I'm done with this victimhood. I want to keep my esteem as high as possible in a realistic way so I can enjoy my life, so I stop feeling bad about bullshit. Let's refresh the chat. Again, if you would like to leave a comment, put 3 emoji faces before your comment and I will see it, or super chat me during this live stream if you are here and I will see it too. Okay, let's see now. Why don't we have a look at look here. All right, I asked about this, the new midlife crisis. It's happening at 20 now, and what do you guys think about it? Let's see what some of you said. Prince Revolver, he said, they're experienced the societal decline that previous generations put into place before they were born. Being progressive was put above everything else, while sweeping the effects under the rug. That's a good point. Freedom without consequences. They kind of promoted a lot of that. Unfortunately, it won't be properly addressed because the adults in society are anything but adults now. Yep. Well, yeah, from the 60s and 70s, it was basically like free love and freedom, and we can do anything. And why can't we do anything? Why can't everyone be free? It'll be sunshine and rainbows. It'll be like we're bringing heaven to earth, and we can just do everything. And don't worry about tomorrow. It's all going to be fine. Like if we're all just happy and smiling, and we're taking a bunch of substances, the future won't be a mess. But then the future becomes a mess because everyone's lazy. When all you do is become hedonistic and drink and sleep and do nothing, all of a sudden pizza boxes start piling up in the room. You get fat, you get lazy, rubbish piles up. No one can be bothered to sweep, have a good garden, maintain anything. No one wants to put in any effort. And then your world looks like a garbage tip because everyone just wants to relax. Okay? I agree. You want a nice house, you got to sweep the driveway, you got to mow the lawn, you can't just say, well, I don't want to do anything and the universe will just make a beautiful garden for me. It won't. You've got to bring order to your world. D-Man says, give me a break. Life hasn't even kicked the 20-year-old in the ass yet. Yep. I think old people get a bit annoyed and ranty like I do sometimes when I'm talking to the old guys that I used to be part of, because I think about myself being there and I'm like, ugh. It's a little bit of cringe. Not because of what it was then, because I look at what it is now and it's just very much a lot of PUA and stuff. But I'm happy to talk to any guy that's reasonable. So I think this kind of old person getting annoyed at the young person who's just giving up, like, give me a break. Life hasn't kicked you in the ass. The young person will say, oh, you don't know anything, grandpa. You're old. Ha ha. You're just bitter because we're young and you're old. Yeah, we are a little bit because we would make better use of your time than you did. And it's just a cycle that continues again. We were like that to a degree as well. I hope I wasn't this nihilistic when I was young. In fact, I know I wasn't, because I was doing much more things. I was riding my bike. I was drawing. I was producing things. I had a lot of aspiration. So. All right, let's get back to here. Let me see if there's any questions I didn't read. Tube the Noob says, to be honest, my midlife crisis is hitting hard lately. It's so easy to get bitter and jaded since life is obviously stacked against you. It's a trap. Find your purpose. Why do you get up each morning? Don't be too existential about it as well. Your purpose is whatever you enjoy doing, right? If all you want to do is play video games, play it. But if you can't sleep at night and you're angry and you notice that, then obviously video games isn't the only life's purpose. You have to put your hands on something and do something and feel, because only when you put your hands on something outside of the mental space of video games or whatever escapist thing you do in your mind, you have to kind of at least sweep the driveway, keep your house in order, have a job, have a friend, go to the supermarket, something, touch the world, and then you feel like your world is protected, and then you can put on your VR goggles and enjoy your virtual world. But if you're in your virtual world, you can enjoy it, but at some point you've got to go to the toilet. At some point you've got to look up at the world, and you've got to feel like your world around you is safe so you can take your eyes off it and then enjoy your video game. So you can pretend and think, no, I don't need to. I'm just going to barricade the walls and just play video games, and I'll fall asleep when I'm tired. I won't look up at the world. I won't look up at the world. I won't look up at the world. The world's still there, and it'll destroy you at some point. And the cognitive load of realizing this when you're past 50 and realizing the last 20 or 30 years of your life, you just locked yourself in a cave, or you just decided to buy a camper van and park it in the middle of the wilderness and, disconnect from society and be off the grid. And the existential weight of that crushes you. I'm not saying it will, but most likely I would put a bet on it that it probably will. You will feel alone, and you'll have a day where the weight of it is like, I burnt a bridge that I can't come back from. Just imagine that. You just burn this bridge that you confidently want to burn, and then you just can't come back from it. That's real terror. But everything else that a lot of Spurgs online are worried about, it's just stuff that they can come back from. Yeah, you can say no to some chick. You can say no to your parents. They're still going to love you as long as you say no in a civilized way. You don't have to blow things up. But everyone's just scared of doing those things. You can recover. You can try something new and come back to what you were doing yesterday if it doesn't work out. What's the big deal? No, you can't do that. So you'd rather burn the bridge of your entire life for decades until you're 50, and then there's no way back. And then you're miserable. Okay. It's not being very rational. It's not being very philosophical for a lot of the guys that read Marcus Aurelius. That's not something he would do. That's not something he would advise. Having bad health is underrated as a factor to your life and happiness. You just can't do a mindset change and then everything is fine. So tired of that attitude. Yeah, it's got to be physical too. I talk about this with Stephanie quite a bit, where sometimes like your brain is, you might have a good day. Sometimes you got a bad day. You can't control your mood. I might have felt great yesterday for no reason. And it's like, oh, that was awesome. And you think tomorrow you're going to feel the same way. And for no reason at all, it might be chemical. It might be whatever. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to pretend to stress myself out even mentally to try and understand something that can't be. And then you feel bad. And then you feel even worse because you can't figure it out and you keep going down that rabbit hole. So, but if you have something like, I've got a walk I can go to the supermarket, I've got a hobby I can unplug my brain from and just paint or draw or a video game or go to the gym or just something, but just go somewhere and be part of the world if you can. Maybe not video games or going online, because again, that's just using your brain. Whereas if you can touch life in some way by getting out of the house, that kind of reset is often enough to help you think clearly when you do switch your mind back on again. But staying in that loop, just in your mental space when you're locked in four walls, don't do that. That's terrible. But you do need to be in a good mental space. You can't just, your physical health needs to be there. It's another way of saying you need to touch the world. You need to touch grass. You can't just do everything mentally. People think they can. They spend all of their times doom scrolling through self-help videos and dopamine hit of insight, dopamine hit of insight, dopamine hit of insight. And then you go to bed nervous and you wake up again needing that fix of other people speaking to you to make yourself feel better. A lot of the scrolling self-help online, all it does, it's a mummy's hug saying, there, you're okay, you're okay. Every single scroll is a tap on the head saying, you're fine, you're okay, you're nice, insight, insight, insight. Yeah, that's a good thing to realize. How good is your sleep? You can't just say, I'm an insomniac, I've tried everything, I've tried pills or whatever. But a lot of it is try a different routine in your life. Try watching different videos. Try different diet. Try something else. Don't just do the same thing and just say, well, my sleep is screwed. I try to go to bed at a certain time and it doesn't work. Try other parts of your life. Your insomnia, it might be connected to a dysfunctional part of your life that you suspect, maybe I can try that. It may be related and you don't because there's just no evidence for it out there. That might just be an excuse. Isn't it better to say, look, I tried this and for some reason my sleep improved? You might be able to theorize why, but scratch the itch that you think might be the answer. That's what I'm saying. Tube the Noob says, I appreciate your comment. Don't be existential. Like, seriously, I always think too damn much. Living in the moment is important. Be happy that you had a nice dinner or a good workout. Yeah. Don't overthink this stuff as well, because why are you interrupting my stream?
Sorry.
I'm guilty of it, because in my 30s, and I pride myself on my curiosity, love of the English language, vocabulary, clear communication, understanding, clarity of thought, intellectualization, overthinking sometimes, but overthinking isn't good. Being philosophical to get to the clarity of what, the meaning of, like, you have a great conversation, light bulb moment, you feel so good, right? But overthinking, like thinking sometimes is not the answer. I learned that, say, before, when I was caught up in the manosphere too much, and I kept going around in circles and talking about the same thing from different perspectives, but never actually doing anything about it in my life, or letting go of it for a moment and seeing if it solves itself. Kind of like the Yoda method of patience. Like, maybe patience is the thing. Like, stop talking. Yeah, but no. Stop talking. Yeah, but we can't, because feminism. No, quiet. And if you can't, and you should, if you think there's any worth in Marcus Aurelius, then that's a problem where you can't shut up. You can't switch your brain off. If you're so smart, if you're so stoic, why can't you shut up? Why can't you stop the feelings you get in front of a pretty girl? And you'd want to, and you hate the fact that you become a 5-year-old in front of a pretty girl. That's the reality that you need to deal with. Not that it's your fault, but that's what needs to be fixed. So in my case, think. Nothing's getting better, or things are getting worse. Let me think more. I'm not thinking well enough. That's like procrastinating. Like, I'm not just going to go to the gym. I've got to get the right pair of sneakers. I've got to get the right this. Not yet. I need to do this. I need to buy that. Not until I do this. I'll start at No, just start. So in the same way, when you realize no matter how much you think, it's never solved, or it never goes away, then maybe switch it off. Do the opposite. Or just pause, right? Because if you pause, another option it might not be the answer, but another option that may lead to an answer will pop up. Prince Revolver says, I'm at the age where my brain knows when I stay up too long. Sometimes you get into old habits where, even though your brain's saying, your body just habitually keeps doing it. I do that, where if I notice I'm scrolling on YouTube or Instagram or YouTube stories and reels, and I'm enjoying, like, even if I'm writing notes down and I'm enjoying the consumption of really interesting stuff, I realize that it's getting late. It's like, no, this is something that's got a hold of me, and you have to catch yourself. I'm not great at it, but you are right. All right, let's end the stream soon. If you've got any final comments, please super chat or add 3 emojis before your comment, like Tube the Noob's little smiley cringe faces that he added in this example here. And I'll try and read them out. Otherwise, let's end the stream in a second. So there's a bit of a delay here. I think there's a 20-second to 1-minute delay in this stream. So I'll give you a minute for everyone to give final comments, what they think, or final insights or questions. And then I'll wrap the stream up. Okay. How long have we been going so far? No, don't want to do that. What's this? Pop our dashboard. Okay. Oh, that's nice. I didn't know that existed. That's pretty good. 40 viewers. Chat rate. 2. Only 2. Come on. Wow, there's a big delay. It's more than 2 minutes. Or maybe just on my end. Anyway. it's always trying to find the right balance. Also, as well, don't try and find balance as much as trying to do what you know is right or what you're ignoring. Because sometimes we can, let me do the easy balance first. I need to balance playing video games, but you're not doing the other thing. But always try to, what's the saying? Eat the frog. Like do the worst thing first. Like if there's really 3 things you need to focus on, and one of them's eating an uncomfortable frog, eat the frog first. You've got a wrench, Prince Revolver, because you're one of the people I respect on this stream, the subscribers, where you've got the ability, if you notice anyone, Prince Revolver, in the stream is saying words or acting like an idiot, you've got the ability to right click on them in the stream and put them in timeout and kick them off the stream. So your wrench gives you the ability to do that, in case you didn't know what it was. Coach Falcon, thank you for the super chat donation. Your words are golden. Good to have you back, human. Thanks, dude. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. All right. Any last? Tube the Noob. Oh, no. I already read that. All right. I think that's it. Yeah, basically you're a mod with limited sort of things, but you're kind of a mod. Take care, everyone. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't have my coffee. My wonderful wife made me a coffee, and I'll have it cold. No, it's lukewarm. It's fine. All right. Show us your kitchen, bro. No, it's just a basic kitchen. I got a little. My house can best be described as a very big apartment or a small house, but it's a small house. All right, everyone, let me know your comments below if you have anything else to say about this thing I've noticed, where it seems like young people now are opting out and giving up and almost retiring and having their midlife crisis in their teens and 20s. And just not actually doing what they always wanted to do, because they don't even know what they want to do yet. They're just saying, I'm just going to do nothing, like my grandfather, who seems really confident doing nothing. No. He's doing what he wants to do and living the life he wants to live and saying the words he wants to say now. You don't see that, but that's what he's doing. He's lived a life to know what he wants. He's actually doing what he wants. You don't know what you want, and you think it looks like just doing nothing. And the world is psychologically a lot more precarious now, especially to a young guy that's not being mentored, doesn't have 2 parents in the house, all of that stuff. I get it. But I'm saying to young guys, don't give up. This is your life. And stop feeling like you're just a chess piece that's being moved around. No, just kind of generate the stuff you want to live and do. Know how to express yourself. And don't retire. Don't have a midlife crisis too early. It's like you're just flushing 30 years down the drain for nothing. Anyway, yeah, technology also has made young people weak-willed. And not in a shaming way. It's like technology has made people give up. Technology has programmed them to abide by their primitive brain to kind of say, oh, well, yeah, the safe option isn't that I'm doing it easy. It's the only sane option, given everything else seems to be a brick wall. But no, much of the brick walls in front of you aren't that high, and you can get over them. They are taller in certain ways than it was for our parents, but some of the walls don't even exist that our parents had to climb over. You don't realize how easy you've got it in some areas of life. Other areas, yes, you've got it harder. Mostly because we didn't have much options, and our grandparents had very few options. So it's very clear what you had to climb over and aspire to. Otherwise, you had nothing in life. There was an existential dread of, well, if I don't do something, there's nothing in life. Like, what do I do? Where do I go? Who are my friends? I have nothing. I can't wake up for anything. But now we've got so many options, and a lot of them are manufactured dead ends to keep us not doing anything, to keep us giving up and opting out and not being a problem. The problem with society, there's much more control psychologically over everyone now than our grandparents ever had, because they had the will to do what they wanted to a degree. They had church and state controlling them a little bit, but it also rewarded them. So if you believed in your church, you would get some metaphysical rewards. Your life would be better. You would believe in something. Your life would have a structure. You would have rules confirmed by your beliefs and things like that. Society would reward you for living life well, and you'd have a civilized society. Now, no matter what you do the right thing, you do the thing that makes sense. The people that don't get rewarded, the bad guys get rewarded. The good person gets walked all over. And so the young guy says, I'm not going to play the game. I get it. Enjoy your life too. Don't let them have your world, is what I'm saying. You know, when you do have your midlife awakening later on, it's clearer how you want to live. It's not just about opting out and giving up. You know, someone could look at my life and say, yeah, you're just pretty relaxed. You don't do very much. It's not about sort of just retiring and giving up and not doing anything. I'm doing a lot of stuff and living my life the way I want, much more than I did when I was in my 20s and teens. Because I lived life, tried their way a lot, and realized what wasn't for me and how much I was being used in those things. And I value my time much more now. Young people are throwing it away, thinking that they're using it in the best way possible. I'm 59. Can I be a silly youngster? You probably can, with more responsibility than a silly youngster, because you can't ignore the experience you've had, or I hope you've had enough experience to keep the child alive. Yeah, this is a good one. Across said, we used to stare at girls in the street. Yeah, we did. Now we don't. We stare at a lot of images of women. They're not even real, but they were real. They kind of are. They're frozen. Alan Watts had it about right. Yeah, he's good. Alan Watts is good. Yeah, exactly. Not surprised. Don't retire too much, big ol'. You're going to waste it. You think too much to the degree that you're going to get to my age, and your brain's going to think so much about what you've spent your last few decades doing, that I hope you don't have an existential crash. Because you read a lot like I did, and your brain is on overdrive like mine was and sometimes is. So it's a matter of kind of knowing when to switch it off and when to plug into the real world. All right. Let's go. I'm going to leave and enjoy my Sunday. The rest of you have a good weekend, and I'll catch you next time. And ciao. Bye. Catch you later. Bye.